Check, check. Alright, so we're going to see how this is working out. Okay, am I okay at this level? Alright, that's the neutron that I'm bringing in now. Alright, so before I get started, because I'm just kind of vibing out. Alright, so this basic setup right now is in this this skiff right here, which is a 3U rack brute. I've got an ES8 here, ER301 here. ES8 I'm not going to be using right now. ER301, which is grain delay and reverb on the Cubit scanned, which I'll bypass that so you guys can hear how it actually sounds. The Fluxus one from Zetaohm, and this is going to be the primary sequencer. This is also clocking the BeatStep Pro, which is running my modular drum machine. That black case right here is basically all just drums. You know, the System 1 on top of it I'm not using right now. Sometimes I use it for its delay. Other times I use it as a percussion module. You know, whatever. I really like the System 1 personally. So anyway, but those two rows right there, that's basically all drums and effects for drums. So that's the gist of that. Moving off to the right, I'm using the neutron and maths, and that's it. Mordax data is there for tuning purposes, which is always beautiful. Can't recommend that module enough. So the neutron I'll bring in and out just for fun because people were asking me about it. But the main thing I want to talk about is the Cubit scanned. Now, I just got it, so we're talking, I've had it out of the box for maybe an hour or so, and I moved my modules around so that I could get it up there. This whole row is basically digital oscillators except for the mixer and the Wuno VCF prototype. So I wanted to have it up in that row. Basically, it's a wavetable oscillator, and it uses a new method of coming about wavetables that we haven't really seen. They're made on the fly, and I haven't hardly touched it, or even I haven't even really read enough about it to go crazy on it. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna kind of discover it. I'm gonna, you know, you'll see my method of madness of just playing with it and learning how it sounds, and I'm gonna hook it up a couple of different ways. Obviously I have this patch going, but I want to hook it up to the MatrixBrute as well and play it as a traditional oscillator and just see how that sounds, and just kind of explore the module for now. And as I get to know it, I'll end up doing a much more detailed video down the road. If people have questions about it, you know, certainly ask, and I'll do my best to kind of explore it along with you. So that's the plan, at least. So I'm going to run this patch for a second, and I just got to handle some things on the internets, and we'll be ready to go. Okay. All right. So those drums, by the way, it's mostly hex inverter drums, and then I have the Little Drummer Boy 2 from Delptronics going through the audio damage shapes, which is how I get that nasty kick. So that's actually Little Drummer Boy 2 going through audio damage shapes, which is pretty awesome. I have the rest of the percussion of that module going there as well. The bottom row of the BeatStep Pro is basically all mutant drums, and the Boom Shack is on 5, I believe. Yeah. So that's on 5, and then the top row all goes to the Animodule MIDI gate, which basically I send MIDI, like a MIDI DIN cable to that, and it gives me, I think it's 11 gate outputs, which all go to the Little Drummer Boy. So that whole top row is nothing but Little Drummer Boy. That's all Little Drummer Boy right there, which is pretty dope. I'm gonna try and set up my iPad so that I can monitor the chat directly from here, which would be kind of dope. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I blame everyone else except for myself. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and dig into all of the goodness that is the Cubit scan. I'm just going to leave a little bit of reverb on it, and that's it. What's crazy is when I first saw the announcement about this module, I didn't really notice much about it being percussive. But I tell you what, it is a really great percussive module. Alright, we're going to take it random using the Fluxus 1's random modes. Alright, so now I'm bypassing the ER301 and I'm just sending a scan through Music Thing Modular Spring Reverb just to kind of give it a different texture so you can hear how it interacts with other modules. Alright, so that's just some little fun with it. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to plug this up to the MatrixBrute and use it as an extra oscillator for the MatrixBrute, and we'll see how that sounds. So give me a couple minutes to set the patch up, because obviously I have to stand up, and I got to grab some cables. Yeah. Let me set this thing up here. Let me tell you, I have some long patch cables. That is something quite handy when you have a case like this. Alright, so how do we want to do this patch? We're going to get output here. So what I'm doing now is just setting it up as external audio in, and I'm going to send gate to the Excite for now. Okay, I have that going, and I just need to set a few things up here. I wasn't really, I realistically wasn't thinking about doing this today, but I just kind of, the module showed up, and I was like, dope. So I'm going to set this thing up real quick. I always go by the panel when I'm setting anything up for the first time, so I just kind of have my own. Let me actually move the camera too. Alright, I think that's a little bit better view. For those of you who don't know, this is still a temporary studio, and I've been saying that for the last 6 months, but hey, that's what happens when you put your family first. So, we still have not finished building the new studio, which is outside of this place. But you know what? My kids have a much nicer place to sleep, and that matters a bit more. Um, so, where was I at? We got sound here. Let's get MatrixBrute some sound. Okay, we're getting there. I'm using the wrong adapter. Alright, there we go. Now we got this thing running through the MatrixBrute. Obviously, I'm going to have to tune it and kind of see how it works all out. Alright, one more cable. Kind of forgot I needed that. Alright. Come on. That might help. Get a little fifth going. Alright, that's pretty cool actually. So I'm gonna set up some modulation routes also from the MatrixBrute to the scan so that I can freak it to the funkin'. So let's actually do this. Alright, now that's just scanned. And if I pluck it, like, that's giving me that, because I'm using the excite input on it. Now I think, let me try something. I'm just going to try something out. Because, like I said, I'm learning this module too. I just got it earlier, so. So strength is like the VCA on it. I haven't read the manual. I haven't done anything yet. I just unboxed it and I was like, ooh, let's throw this thing in a rack. I think it's beefy. Send an oscillator into the inject. Let's go ahead. That's pretty wild. I got the E350 going into it now. Let's mix in a little bit of MatrixBrute oscillator as well. Seems to have no issue tracking, so that's a great thing. Alright, now like I said, let's set up some modulation sources. Alright, let's do that's going to be the magic slot. Alright. And we'll do, what do we want to do? Shape? Yeah, we'll do shape. Okay? So now, when I'm setting up this lane of modulation, which is VCO2 pulse width, that's all going out. So the sum of this modulation will go out to, what did I say? Shape? Okay, so let's go ahead and first send it to LFO. And, oh damn it. What am I doing? Let's go to the modulation lane first. Alright, so yeah, we'll do here. Let's give it a triangle. And again, this is just the scan that you're hearing right now, and it's getting inject from the morphing terrarium. So that's kind of ridiculous. Let's I'm gonna make the morphing terrarium track volt per octave as well. So we'll go ahead. I'll set up a little sequence real quick, just so that we have something. A little bit of filter. I'm gonna get rid of that filter now. So now we're just getting scanned again. just kind of playing with the different vibes with it, man. Just checking it out. So let's see how it blends. Let's see how this thing blends with just standard oscillators. So. It's cool because it doesn't really sound like it takes over, but it certainly adds like a whole nother layer. I don't have any modulation going on the MatrixBrute. The only thing that's getting modulated is scanned. And I'm modulating shape and mass. Now remember, if I send it a gate, I'd say it definitely works well with a traditional synth like the MatrixBrute. So what I'm doing now is I'm setting it up where I have envelope 3 on the MatrixBrute is controlling the shape of it. So when I strike it, that slight modulation there is coming from the MatrixBrute. It's also send it. I'll sum an LFO along with that. Let's do LFO2 actually. So we'll do this. Speed this up a bit. If I do a square wave, I can kind of take this out for a second. So I think that's a pretty good idea of a taste of what this thing sounds like. And like I said, as I get to know it, I'm going to come back and do an actual educated video on it as well. But this is my first impressions video, I guess, and just kind of checking it out. So shout out to Cubit for sending it out. And I told them I was interested in it, and they were kind enough to send one over. And I intend to showcase it and tell people what I actually think about it and all that good stuff. So far, it's really cool. I'm surprised at how gritty it gets when you put it in certain modes, but then you can make it completely smooth also. So it's really interesting the variety of sound that you get out of it. It's like you can make it sound lo-fi at one point, and then you can make it sound really hi-fi at the next point, which is really crazy. I didn't expect that at all. I also didn't expect it to be so percussive. It's really great as a percussive module. So, yeah, this is Flux of Fluxwithit.com. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram especially. I need to grow my Instagram base more. So, at Flux302 on Instagram. And, yeah, have a great weekend. All right? Peace.